Hi students, once again welcome back to SGC YouTube classes for first PUC. This is RKSR lecture in chemistry, and in today's class we'll going to start second lesson of organic chemistry, that is hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons. First, let's define what is meant by hydrocarbon. The name itself indicating hydrocarbons, nothing but the compounds which contains hydrogen as well as carbon. That's it. The compounds which contains only carbon and hydrogen are called as hydrocarbons. Example for hydrocarbons, say methane, which contains only carbon and hydrogen. Of course, 4 hydrogens are there, let it, but it contains only carbon and hydrogen, no other element involved in it. And ethane, C2H6. Of course, 2 carbons are there, 6 hydrogens are there, let it, but it contains only carbon and hydrogen. And benzene, C6H6, all these comes under hydrocarbons only. How to define hydrocarbons? The compounds which contains only carbon and hydrogen are called as hydrocarbons. Right. Now we'll discuss about classification of hydrocarbons. How hydrocarbons will be classified? Let's discuss now. Hydrocarbons are basically classified into 2 categories. What are those 2 categories? Number 1, open chain hydrocarbons, and number 2, closed chain hydrocarbons. That's it. Open chain hydrocarbons, closed chain hydrocarbons. Right. Then open chain hydrocarbons includes aliphatic hydrocarbons. And closed chain hydrocarbons again divide into 2 types. They are number 1, alicyclic hydrocarbons, and second one is aromatic hydrocarbons. That's it. A, and this of course B. Once again, open chain hydrocarbons are included only 1 category, that is aliphatic hydrocarbons. But closed chain hydrocarbons again divide into alicyclic hydrocarbons and aromatic hydrocarbons, because both are closed structures only, nothing but ring structures only. Okay, right. Now we'll discuss first regarding open chain hydrocarbons. In that open chain hydrocarbons, regarding aliphatic hydrocarbons we'll discuss. Very simple. What is meant by aliphatic hydrocarbons? Aliphatic hydrocarbons, nothing but open chain hydrocarbons only. Aliphatic hydrocarbons, nothing but open chain hydrocarbons only. Then what are the examples for? Aliphatic hydrocarbons? Means all open chain hydrocarbons itself considered as, that is aliphatic hydrocarbons. Example, alkanes as well as alkenes as well as alkynes. All these compounds will comes under aliphatic hydrocarbons only. Very simple. What is meant by aliphatic hydrocarbon? Nothing but open chain hydrocarbon. Right. Then example, alkanes, of course open chain hydrocarbons. Alkenes, of course open chain hydrocarbons, as well as alkynes also open chain hydrocarbons only. Right. Now regarding closed chain hydrocarbons we'll discuss later. Okay. In that first we'll discuss about aliphatic hydrocarbons classification. Aliphatic hydrocarbons again further divide into 2 categories. What is that category? Let's discuss now. Aliphatic hydrocarbons are once again divided into 2 types. They are number 1, saturated, that is aliphatic hydrocarbons. Second one is unsaturated, that is aliphatic hydrocarbons. Okay, saturated hydrocarbons as well as unsaturated hydrocarbons. Let's discuss now. Very simple. What is meant by saturated hydrocarbons and what is meant by unsaturated hydrocarbons I will discuss. After completion of this category, we'll go to closed chain hydrocarbons. Okay. First, what is meant by saturated hydrocarbons? Means the hydrocarbon in which carbon if it is contains only single bond. I'll repeat once again. Carbon-carbon single bonded compounds are called as saturated hydrocarbons. I'll repeat once again. Basically, it should be open chain compound. Basically, it should be open chain compound. In that compound, carbon and carbon must and should contain only single bond. CC single bonded open chain compounds are called as saturated hydrocarbons. Saturated hydrocarbons. Then unsaturated hydrocarbons. Unsaturated hydrocarbons, how to define? Means the compounds which contains carbon-carbon double bond or carbon-carbon triple bonded compounds are called as unsaturated hydrocarbons. I'll repeat once again. Saturated hydrocarbons means the compounds which contains carbon-carbon single bond only. Unsaturated hydrocarbons means the compounds which contains carbon-carbon double bond or carbon-carbon triple bond. Right. Now, saturated hydrocarbons includes alkanes, and unsaturated hydrocarbons includes, that is, the carbon-carbon double bonded compounds are called alkenes, carbon-carbon triple bonded compounds are called alkynes. Means unsaturated hydrocarbons includes again two components. One is alkenes and other one is alkynes. But saturated hydrocarbons includes only one type category, one type compound, that is alkanes. Now we will define what is meant by alkanes, what is meant by alkenes, what is meant by alkynes. That's it. First we will discuss about what is meant by alkanes. Come on, how to define alkanes? Means by seeing all these points we have to tell. How to define alkanes means alkanes are aliphatic saturated hydrocarbons. That's it. Alkanes are aliphatic saturated hydrocarbons. And what is the general formula of alkanes? CnH2n plus 2 is the general formula of alkanes. In alkanes, we will have carbon-carbon single bond. They are saturated hydrocarbons. This is the general formula of alkanes. Here, what is meant by N? N is nothing but a number of carbon atoms. That's it. Next, how to define alkenes? How to define alkenes? How to define alkenes? Again, by seeing the words we have to tell. I say how alkenes are aliphatic unsaturated hydrocarbons. That's it. Alkenes are aliphatic unsaturated hydrocarbons which contains carbon-carbon double bond. Once again, alkenes are aliphatic unsaturated hydrocarbons which contains carbon-carbon double bond. And its general formula is CnH2n. That's it. Now, how to define alkynes? Same definition. Alkynes are aliphatic hydrocarbons, aliphatic unsaturated hydrocarbons in which carbon-carbon triple bond must and should present. Once again, how to define alkynes? Alkynes are aliphatic unsaturated hydrocarbons which contains carbon-carbon triple bond. And general formula of alkynes is CnH2n minus 2. That's it. Everywhere N is nothing but a number of carbon atoms only. And alkanes are truly, that is these are saturated hydrocarbons, and alkenes and alkynes are unsaturated hydrocarbons. Next, one more important thing. Alkanes, if you see there, every carbon must and should undergo sp3 hybridization. In alkenes, every carbon must and should undergo sp2 hybridization. In alkynes, every carbon must and should undergo sp hybridization. Right. This is just a basic introduction regarding aliphatic hydrocarbons. Of course, aliphatic hydrocarbons includes saturated as well as unsaturated also. Okay. Once again, alkanes belongs to saturated hydrocarbons. Alkenes and alkynes belongs to unsaturated hydrocarbons. That's it. Now we'll go to closed chain hydrocarbons. Closed chain, nothing but ring structured compounds. How to define closed chain? What is the major difference between open chain, closed chain? Very simple. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose 4 carbons have taken. Say it is the first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon. Next, exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons have taken. Just give the number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it is open chain structure, it is a closed chain structure. What is the difference between open chain and closed chain? Means, in open chain compound, first carbon as well as the last carbons are not connected. I'll repeat. First and last carbons are not connected to each other, then that compound is called as open chain compound. What is meant by closed chain compound? Means, suppose if first and last carbons are connected to each other, then that is called as a closed chain compound. That's it. Okay, here no connection between first and last, here there is a connection between first and last carbon atoms. Right. Now we will discuss about closed chain hydrocarbons. Closed chain hydrocarbons includes alicyclic hydrocarbons as well as aromatic hydrocarbons. Let's see first alicyclic hydrocarbons. What are alicyclic hydrocarbons? Example for alicyclic hydrocarbon is cyclopropane as well as cyclobutane. Then how to define alicyclic hydrocarbons? Very simple. See here. Alicyclic hydrocarbons basically having a ring structure. I'll repeat. Alicyclic hydrocarbons are having ring structure, but their properties are absolutely similar to aliphatic hydrocarbons. Once again, structure is ring structure, but properties are similar to aliphatic hydrocarbons. That's it. This is about alicyclic hydrocarbons. Cyclopropane, cyclobutane. Next we will go to aromatic hydrocarbons. Of course, regarding aromatic hydrocarbons, I will learn deeply in the benzene topic. Right now I will give you the basic idea regarding aromatic hydrocarbons. How to define aromatic hydrocarbons? See here, the name itself in aroma is nothing but particular smell. Means aromatic compounds are having particular smell, and at the same time aromatic hydrocarbons must and should contain at least one benzene ring in them. It is benzene ring. Any aromatic hydrocarbon if you take, it should contain at least one benzene ring in them. It is benzene. Suppose if you take a toluene, it is aromatic hydrocarbon. Why? Because in toluene we are having a benzene ring. Suppose if you take phenol, it is also aromatic hydrocarbon because it is also having a benzene ring. That's why how to define aromatic hydrocarbons means the compounds which contains at least one benzene ring in them are called as aromatic hydrocarbons. Of course, it is just a basic concept only. It is just a basic idea only. What is exact aromatic compound we will discuss later, not now. Okay, right. This is about classification of hydrocarbons. Okay, then after completion of classification we'll go to that is open chain compound. In that open chain compound, aliphatic hydrocarbon. In that aliphatic hydrocarbon, saturated hydrocarbon. In that saturated hydrocarbon we will discuss about alkanes. Means in present hydrocarbons lesson we have to discuss about alkanes, alkenes, alkynes as well as benzene. Means what we have to learn regarding them, their preparations as well as properties we have to learn. Now we will take alkanes and will discuss about its preparations and properties. That's it. Okay, right. Yeah, now we'll start alkanes. Already known to you, general formula of alkanes CnH2n plus 2. Here n is nothing but number of carbon atoms. Suppose if I substitute n equal to 1, we will get the very first alkane. Suppose if you substitute 1, C1H2 into 1, 2 plus 2, that is nothing but you will get a CH4. It is nothing but first alkane, its name is methane. If you substitute n equal to 2, you will get a C2H6. it is a methane, it is ethane. Like that, if you substitute n value, different n values, you will get a different alkanes. Of course, I am not explaining a nomenclature of alkanes once again, because we have learned a nomenclature clearly in our first lesson, that is a basic principles and techniques. Once again, I am not wasting the time. Okay, right. And alkanes are also called as paraffins, another name. Paraffins. What is the meant by paraffins? See, in Latin language, one of the ancient language, in Latin language, para is nothing but a less, affins nothing but affinity, affins nothing but, we can say affinity or reactivity, we can say reactivity. What is the meaning? What is the meaning of paraffins? Means being saturated compounds, their reactivity is very less. They are not interested in the participation of chemical reactions. Okay, because already they are saturated compounds. That's why they are called as paraffins. Paraffins meaning is less reactivity. That's it. Okay. Then already known to you, in alkanes, each and every carbon undergoing sp3 hybridization. Okay, and because of sp3 hybridization, the shape should be tetrahedral. Okay, right. Now we'll discuss about first isomerism in alkanes. What is meant by isomerism? Isomerism means compounds are having same molecular formula, but having a different properties are called as isomers, and the phenomena is called as isomerism. Already regarding isomerism, again we have learned in our first lesson only. Once again, I am not discussing clearly what is exact definition of isomerism. See here, in case of alkanes, the very first alkane, methane, does not show isomerism. Ethane also does not show isomerism, and propane also does not show isomerism. I'll repeat. The first three membered alkanes does not exhibit isomerism. In alkanes, isomerism starts from n equal to 4. Okay, now n equal to 4 is nothing but a butane. Isomerism starts from butane only. I'll repeat. In alkanes, first three membered compounds does not exhibit isomerism. Then carbon number 4, n equal to 4. From n equal to 4, isomerism will start. Let's discuss one or two examples regarding isomerism. See here, suppose if I write n equal to 4, n equal to 4 is nothing but a C4H10, its name already known to you, butane. Butane is its name. Then butane total, how many isomers are showing? Okay, let's discuss now. CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. What we have written here? All 4 carbons we have arranged in the straight chain, no branches, nothing. And its name is butane. Butane is IUPAC name, and its common name is N-butane. N for normal. N-butane means here all 4 carbons are arranged in the straight chain. In the next structure, what I am doing, CH3, CH, CH3, CH3. First, we'll just count whether they are having the same molecular formula or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, C4. 1, 2, 3, 4, C4. And 3, 5, 7, 10, H10. 3, 3, 3, 9 plus 1, 10. Means both are having absolutely same molecular formula. Both are same molecular formula. But what is the difference? Difference is their structure is different. Their structure is different. Here in the parent chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons are present. In the parent chain, here 3 carbons only present. Okay, once again, its name is butane, and its name is 2-methyl-propane. 2-methyl-propane is IUPAC name. Or if you see the common names, it is N-butane, it is isobutane. N-butane, isobutane, N-butane, isobutane. Like that, 2 isomers are possible for butane. 2 isomers are possible. Means both are having the same molecular formula, but they are having a different structures. Because of different structures, definitely their properties will be different only. This phenomena only called as isomerism. Okay. Suppose same compound, if a methyl group instead of middle carbon, if I write here methyl group instead of second carbon, if I attach at first carbon, is this another isomer? Means absolutely wrong. It is not another isomer. This compound both are quite similar only. Its name is N-butane. It is not isomer. It is not 2-methyl. It is not we cannot say it is 1-methyl propane. It is not 1-methyl propane. It is N-butane only. Okay, that's why only 2 isomers are possible for butane. Okay, right. Then according to our NCERT book, he has given hexane. We have to write total how many isomers are possible for hexane. C6H14 will write all possible isomers to the hexane. Sir, in between pentane is there or not? Yeah, pentane is there. Pentane, you can try them. Okay, hexane I am giving all possible isomers. First isomer CH3, CH2, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's it. See, we'll just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and 3, 11 plus 3, 14. Molecular formula is telling. Here all 6 carbons we have arranged the straight chain. That's why we can say it is N-hexane. Its common name is N-hexane. Right. Next structure what I am doing, instead of writing of 6 carbons in the parent chain, I will write only 5 carbons. I will write in the parent chain only 5 carbons. And what about another carbon? That another carbon I will make it as a branch. See here. CH3, CH, CH3, CH2, CH2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total, both are having the same molecular formula, no doubt. But here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 carbons are present in the parent chain. 1 carbon we have arranged as a branch. 1 carbon we have arranged as a branch, remember. That's why both are having a different structures, no doubt. Because of different structures, their properties will be different. And we can write its name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, this compound name is hexane. And we can say N-hexane. And this compound name is a 2-methyl pentane. It is one of the isomer. Next what I am doing, this methyl group instead of here I will write here CH3, CH2, CH, CH3, CH2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then methyl group I have attached here. Now we have to write its numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Otherwise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 also we can write. Its name is 3-methyl pentane. Yeah, 3-methyl pentane is another isomer. Okay, next. Suppose if a methyl group, if I attach again here, if a methyl group attached here, again you will get back this structure. Because if a methyl group is attached here, then we have to start numbering from RHS to LHS. You will get same second structure only. Okay, right. Till now, how many structures are possible till now? Only 3. Next, what I am doing, instead of writing of 5 carbons in the parent chain, I will write only 4 carbons. CH3, CH, CH3, CH, CH3, CH3. 1, 2, 3, only 4 carbons have written in the parent chain, and the remaining 2 carbons are written as branches. Okay, and of course its molecular formula quite similar, C6H14 only its molecular formula, and we can write its IUPAC name 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherwise 1, 2, 3, 4 also we can write, there is no problem. And we can tell its IUPAC name. Its name is 2, 3 dimethyl butane. 2 comma 3 dimethyl butane, right. In the next 1 2 3 4 last one more structure is left. In that structure what I am doing, same 4 carbons only I'll write, CH3 CH2 CH2 CH3. First I'll write same 4 carbons, and here by replacing 2 hydrogen atoms to the 1 carbon only both methyl groups have attached. Instead of adjacent carbons, then both methyl groups have attached to one single carbon only. Definitely its structure is different. It is also one of the isomer. That's why its name 1 2 3 4. Yeah, 2 comma 2 dimethyl butane. That's it. These are the possible isomers for hexane. Means total how many isomers are possible? 5. See, again one more important thing. For aliphatic hydrocarbons, to calculate number of isomers, I'll repeat once again. For aliphatic hydrocarbons, to calculate number of isomers, we are having one trick is there, one formula is there. But the problem is that formula is not applicable to all the components. That trick is applicable only certain compounds. That's why that trick I am not giving here. I'll repeat once again. With the help of one trick, we can tell directly number of isomers, but it is not applicable. But unfortunately, it is not applicable to all the components. That's why that formula, that trick I am not giving here. Just see how to by heart. That's it. Okay, hexane showing a total 1 2 3 4 5 isomers. More than this is not possible. If you want, you can check them. You can take 3 carbons and you can check. You can take 2 carbons and you can check. It just impossible only. These are the 5 isomers. Like that. Now I will give you a list of isomers of alkanes. But before we will going to discuss the list, one very important point is, because in many books as well as many lecturers also will do mistake, particularly here. What is the mistake? That mistake is alkanes never ever shows position isomerism. Alkanes always shows chain isomerism only. That's it. Chain isomerism only. This you have to remember. Alkanes never shows position isomerism. Alkanes always shows chain isomerism only. In any book, if regarding alkanes, position isomerism has given, means that is absolutely wrong. Please make the correction. Alkanes always shows chain isomerism only. Okay, all right. Next, I will give you list of various alkanes like isomers. Already known to you, as far as alkanes are concerned, there is a carbon number 4. N equal to 4 onwards isomerism will start. Then N equal to 4, that is a butane. Butane showing only 2 isomers. They are already, we have discussed N-butane and isobutane already we have discussed them. C5, pentane will show 3 isomers. You can check them. And C6, hexane, just now we have discussed, shows 5 isomers. Already just now we have discussed, it shows 5 isomers. And 7, heptane shows 9 isomers. And octane shows 18 isomers. And nonane shows 35 isomers. And decane shows 75 isomers. This you have to by heart. This you have to remember. Okay. C4, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, decane. These are the isomers. You just remember. Okay, right. Next, we'll discuss about preparations of alkanes. Right. preparations of alkanes. Of course, regarding alkanes, hybridization also, once again I am not explaining. Hybridization also we have learned in the chemical bonding lesson. Once again I am not wasting the time here, okay. Directly we will start preparations. See, as far as alkanes are concerned, the main source for alkanes is petroleum and natural gas. Petroleum and natural gas is the main source for alkanes. Means alkanes can be extracted from petroleum as well as natural gas. Okay, right. In NCERT book, whatever the preparation methods are there, we will discuss those preparation methods. In that, the first method is from unsaturated hydrocarbons. From unsaturated hydrocarbons. What are unsaturated hydrocarbons? Nothing but alkenes and alkynes. Means what is our target? Alkene we have to convert it into alkane. Alkyne also we have to convert it into alkene. Let's see how it is possible. Examples. We will take ethene. Now my target is ethene should convert to ethane. How it is possible? Means ethene having 2 carbons. Of course, ethane also having 2 carbons. Ethene having 4 hydrogens, but ethane having 6 hydrogens. Means what we have to do here? We have to add hydrogen. Okay, that's why this ethene we are adding hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen molecule we are adding across the double bond like this. One hydrogen will add here, one will add here. Of course, it is having its mechanism, but I am not explaining the mechanism right now. Okay, one hydrogen is adding here, one hydrogen is adding here, and a reaction is taking place in the presence of either nickel or platinum or palladium catalyst. Means to this ethene, when we are adding hydrogen across the double bond, we are getting ethane. Okay, unsaturated compound is converted into saturated compound because here addition is taking place. It is addition reaction because ethene is adding hydrogen molecule. And one more example, we will take CH3, CH double bond CH2 plus H2. You can guess what is this? Propene. Again we are having a double bond. Unsaturation is there. This hydrogen molecule are bringing and we are adding here in the presence of same catalyst, and we will get a propane. CH3, CH2, CH, that's it. Ethene converted into ethane, propene converted into propane. Both are alkenes because our heading is from unsaturated hydrocarbons. Unsaturated means they may be alkenes or even alkynes also. Now I will give you one of the example of alkyne. Alkyne example. We will take say CH3, C triple bond CH. I will take here propyne. Alkyne. These two are alkenes. It is alkyne. Propyne. Suppose when propyne is also added with hydrogen in the presence of nickel, platinum, palladium catalyst. What happen now? Then hydrogen molecule will come and add across the triple bond. One hydrogen will add here, one hydrogen will add here. What we are getting now? CH3, yeah, C becomes CH. And a triple bond converted into double bond. And CH converted into CH2. See, alkyne converted into alkene. Alkyne converted into alkene. Okay, still it is also unsaturated only. It is also unsaturated compound only. That's why one more hydrogen molecule I am adding in the presence of same nickel, platinum, palladium. Across the double bond, hydrogen molecule will come and add, and ultimately we are getting a propane. That's it. Propane. Propyne converted into propane. Propyne converted into propane. Okay, but no need to write like this lengthy process. You just write like this directly. Instead of 1 mole, you can write 2 moles of hydrogen. When you are writing 2 moles of hydrogen, no need to show the middle alkene. Directly you can show alkane. I'll repeat. When propene is added with 2 moles of hydrogen in the presence of nickel or platinum catalyst, directly will get alkane. We can write propane, CH3, CH2, CH3, that's it. Okay, these two are alkenes, it is alkyne. As far as alkenes are concerned, 1 mole of hydrogen is enough. But as far as alkynes are concerned, we are using 2 moles of hydrogens to get completely alkane, I mean saturated compound. Okay, right. Now here important thing is, when we are using a platinum or palladium, room temperature is enough. Room temperature is sufficient. But when we are using a nickel catalyst, room temperature is not sufficient. We have to maintain high temperature like 573 kelvins like temperature we have to maintain when we are using a nickel catalyst. That's why when unsaturated compounds are undergoing hydrogenation, this process is also called hydrogenation because we are adding hydrogen. Okay, when unsaturated compounds undergoing hydrogenation in the presence of particularly nickel catalyst, at 573 kelvins temperature is called, that reaction is called with one name, its name is Sabatier-Senderens reaction. When we'll call it as Sabatier-Senderens reaction means when unsaturated compounds are added with hydrogen in the presence of particularly nickel catalyst at 573 kelvins temperature, then definitely alkanes are obtained. That process is called as Sabatier-Senderens reaction. That's it. Okay, this is a Roman number 1, that is from unsaturated hydrocarbons. What unsaturated hydrocarbons we have used? One is alkene and one is alkyne, both converted into alkane. Remember here, as far as alkenes are concerned, we are using just 1 mole of hydrogen. As far as alkynes are concerned, we are using 2 moles of hydrogen, will get directly alkane. Propene, propane, ethene. Here important thing is, when we are using a particularly nickel catalyst, we have to maintain 573 kelvins temperature, and if when we are maintaining these conditions, then that particular reaction is called Sabatier-Senderens reaction. Next, we'll go to Roman number 2, another preparation method, second preparation method for alkanes. From alkyl halides, right. What is the general symbol of alkyl halide? Rx is alkyl halide. Right. Then from alkyl halides we'll get alkanes in 2 methods again. In that first method we'll discuss, later we'll go to second method. In that first method, number 1 I am writing again. It is very important reaction, and it is a named reaction. That is Wurtz reaction. Wurtz, W-U-R-T-Z, Wurtz reaction. Then according to Wurtz reaction, how alkyl halides are converted into alkanes. Let's discuss now. I'll repeat. According to Wurtz reaction, how alkyl halides will be converted into corresponding alkanes, we'll see now. See here carefully. First I'll give you general reaction. Later we'll see example. I'll give you now general equation. Rx, nothing but alkyl halide, reacting with sodium. Again I am writing XR. Rx, XR, nothing but both are alkyl halides only, remember. Or instead of writing of 2 times, we can also write directly 2 moles of Rx also, doesn't matter. Rx, alkyl halide. And sodium also I am taking 2 moles only, convenient purpose. Let's see what happened. And a reaction is taking place in the presence of dry ether. Sir, why dry ether should maintain? That also I'll discuss, that also I'll explain. Wait. Now what happened when alkyl halide is reacting with the sodium metal in the presence of dry ether? Then sodium halide is eliminated. NaX is obtained as a byproduct. And these are both alkyl groups are connected to each other, will get RR. What is RR? RR is also alkane only, that is higher alkane. Higher alkane is obtained. What is alkyl halide? What is RX? RX is nothing but alkyl halide. Okay, it is called general reaction. Why it is called general reaction? Because which alkyl group we have used, that we don't know. Which halogen we have used, that also we don't know. That's why it is called as general reaction for Woods reaction. Now I will give you example. Example I will give. Instead of R, I will take suppose ethyl group C2H5Br. Instead of halogen, I am taking bromine. We can take any halogen, bromine, iodine, etc. Chlorine, of course. Ethyl bromide. Ethyl bromide is the common name. IUPAC name is bromoethane. Same sodium plus again ethyl bromide. Here do one thing. Here towards sodium both bromines should come. That's why I have written like this. Br C2H5 I have written. C2H5Br, Br C2H5 both are quite similar, no doubt. Then reaction is taking place in the presence of dry ether. Now NaBr is eliminating here, and this ethyl will be connected. Ethyls are connected. What we are getting now? Just count and tell them. C2H5, nothing but C4H10. C4H10 plus NaBr, 2 moles of NaBr, nothing but a butane. What is this? It is ethyl bromide. Ethyl bromide, right? It is called example. It is called a general reaction. It is called example. Okay, what happens? Let's see once again. When ethyl bromide is reacting with the sodium in the presence of dry ether, we are getting butane. Butane is called higher alkane. Sir, why it is called higher alkane? What is the meaning of higher alkane? Very simple. In obtained alkane, we are having 4 carbons, but in the reactant, we are having only 2 carbons. Comparing with the reactant, product having more carbons. Comparing with the reactant, product having more carbons. That's why it is called as higher alkane. Higher alkane generally will show with RR symbol. Comparing with the reactant, product having a more number of carbon atoms. This reaction only called as Woods reaction, which is very important reaction. Because generally in organic chemistry, all named reactions are very important. Okay, right. Then question arises here. Why dry ether we are using? Otherwise, what happened? Okay, now if a dry ether has not used, what happened means very simple. Whatever the sodium we are using, sodium is of course highly reactive metal. Highly reactive metal. Suppose if a dry ether has not used, immediately sodium will react with moisture which is surrounded in the environment or which is present in the environment. I'll repeat. Sodium will react with moisture. When sodium is reacting with moisture, it is converting into another form. To prevent that reaction, we are using a dry ether. When we are using a dry ether, sodium will not react with moisture. That is the advantage. This is called Woods reaction. And of course, Woods reaction, we can discuss its mechanism also. But right now in your first year PUC level, mechanism has not given. That's why I am not explaining its mechanism. In the competitive exam level, at the time of NEET and JEE, we'll see its mechanism at that time. Okay, and here one more important example I'll tell you. Okay, that is it is example 1. Now I'll explain example 2. Right. In example 1, one more thing you have to observe. That is, always in Woods reaction, remember, always in Woods reaction, you will get a even number of carbon atoms alkanes only. Even number of carbon atom alkane only you will get in Woods reaction. That is important. Okay, right. Next second example I will tell you, that is somewhat a different example. I'll explain another second example which is a somewhat different example. See here, CH3Br plus sodium plus BrC2H5. A reaction takes place in the presence of a dry ether. What is the major difference between example 1 and example 2 is, in example 1 we have used only one alkyl halide, remember, only one type alkyl, one means one type alkyl halide, only ethyl bromide we have used. But in the example we have used methyl bromide and ethyl bromide, two different alkyl halides we have used. When two different alkyl halides are used in the Woods reaction, remember, when two different alkyl halides are used in the Woods reaction, you will get a total three different alkanes are obtained. When the same alkyl halide is used, we are getting only one type of alkane. When two different alkyl halides are used, we will get a total three different alkanes are obtained. Three different alkanes. What are those alkanes? Let's see now. Let's see now. See, NaBr is out, and this methyl and ethyl should connect. Methyl, ethyl have to connect. We will get C2 and C1, C3 and 5 plus 3, 8, C3H8. What is the C3H8? It is a propane. It is a propane. It is one of the alkane, propane. Then already I said you that is a three different alkanes are obtained. Till now only one alkane we have written. What about remaining two? Remaining two are, see. Here what happened? Methyl, ethyl both are connected and you will get propane. Next, only methyl bromide undergoes Woods reaction. Only methyl bromide undergoes Woods reaction. Which product is obtained? Ethane is obtained. Only methyl bromide undergoing Woods reaction, you will get ethane. Iska double number. Next, only ethyl bromide undergoing Woods reaction like this. Only ethyl bromide is undergoing Woods reaction like this. Then again it's a double number, plus C4H10. It is ethane, it is a butane. Of course, plus 2 moles of NaBr is obtained as a byproduct. Means when two different alkyl halides are used, total 3 different alkanes are obtained. See the difference between these two reactions. Okay. Here same alkyl halide we have used, only one alkane. When two different alkyl halides are used, 3 alkanes are obtained. Here just now I said you that in Woods reaction always even number of carbon atoms alkane only obtained. Yes, absolutely it is correct. When it is possible means when we are using a same alkyl halide, always you will get an even number of carbon atoms alkane. But when we are using a two different alkyl halides, then here 2 even number alkanes and 1 odd number alkane also possible. This is very important. When two different alkyl halides are used, definitely 1 odd number alkane and 2 even number carbon atoms alkanes are obtained. These points you must remember. Lot of difference is there between these two examples. As far as your PU board is concerned, this example is enough. That generally will use for competitive examination purpose only. Okay. Woods reaction means what you have to write? You have to write a statement. What is the statement? When alkyl halide reacts with sodium in the presence of a dry ether, you will get its corresponding higher alkane. That is the statement. And immediately you have to write this general reaction. Rx plus Na plus again Rx. In the presence of dry ether, RR plus NaX, general equation compulsory you have to write. After general equation, you have to write example, only one example. This example you have to write, enough. This example no need to write unless and otherwise he has asked. But generally, this example for theory examination purpose they will not ask. But even though you have to practice, only this example you have to write. When ethyl bromide react with sodium in the presence of a dry ether, you will get a butane. That's it. This is about Woods reaction, which is very important reaction for both theory as well as competitive examinations purpose. Right. Next, we'll go to another reaction. Same again, Roman number 2. What is our main heading? Our main heading is from alkyl halides. From alkyl halides, in that number 1 we have discussed, that is Woods reaction. Then we will go to second reaction. Main source is alkyl halides only, no doubt. From alkyl halides. From alkyl halides. That I am not changing. In that number 1, first one already we have discussed Woods reaction. Now we are going to second one, that is reduction. Reduction process. Yeah. Then with the help of reduction process, how alkyl halides are converted into alkanes, let's discuss now. Once again, what is the first preparation? Roman number 1. Roman number 1 is unsaturated. From unsaturated hydrocarbons, we have prepared alkanes. What unsaturated hydrocarbons we have used? One is alkene, one is alkyne, that's it. Then second one is from alkyl halides. Then how alkyl halides are converted into alkanes means number 1 is Woods reaction, number 2 is a reduction process. What is meant by reduction? Reduction is nothing but addition of hydrogen. Let's see how it is possible. Again, I am giving general reaction. When alkyl halide is reacting with zinc metal Zn and in the presence of diluted HCl, zinc and diluted HCl. Yeah, we'll see what happens. When a zinc and diluted HCl, when a zinc and HCl both are reacted to each other, you will get a zinc chloride balancing layer 2, I am writing zinc chloride. Along with that, these two hydrogens will come out like this. Two nascent hydrogens are coming out. These two nascent hydrogens are used here. Nascent बोलो तो just born, just prepared, nothing but unstable. These nascent hydrogens are coming from zinc and HCl only. And what happened now? X replaced with hydrogen. Halogen is replaced with hydrogen. You will get a RH plus remaining hydrogen and remaining halogen, HX. What is RH? RH also alkane only. In Woods reaction we have written RR. What is the difference between RR and RH? That is alkane. This is also alkane. Both are alkanes. But what is the difference? That is called higher alkane. But it is just alkane. What is the meaning of higher alkane? Comparing with the parent compound, here number of carbons are more. What is RH? Parent compound, this obtained alkane are having same number of carbon atoms. If the same number of carbon atoms are present, we will show RHS. More carbons are there, will show RR. But both are alkanes. No confusion at all, remember. It is alkane. Again, I am giving example. It is called a general reaction. Example, instead of R, we can take ethyl, methyl, anyone we can take. Say for example, again, ethyl bromide reacting with hydrogen, which is coming from zinc and HCl, and Br replaced with hydrogen. Br removing, hydrogen is substituted. You will get a C2H5H, nothing but a C2H6 plus HBr. It is ethane. Ethane, that's it. Means ethyl bromide converted into ethane. Ethane is our alkane because our lesson, our topic is alkanes. Alkane is obtained. Okay. This is from alkyl halides second method. First one is Woods reaction. Second one is reduction. Then a third preparation is there from Roman number 3. From carboxylic acids. From carboxylic acid, this is the last preparation method of alkanes. Once again, what is Roman number 1? From unsaturated hydrocarbons. What is Roman number 2? From alkyl halides. What is the Roman number 3? From carboxylic acids. Let's see now. Yeah. Again, from carboxylic acids also again we are having two methods. The first one in that number one is decarboxylation process. Decarboxylation. What is the meaning of decarboxylation? D, nothing but elimination. Carboxylation, nothing but carboxylic group should be eliminated. How? Let's see now. I'll give you directly one example. CH3COOH. Its IUPAC name is ethanoic acid. Common name is acetic acid. And whatever the carboxylic acid is there, that carboxylic acid, first we have to react with a base. We should react with a base. It is acid is a base. You will get a salt. CH3COONA plus H2O. We are getting a sodium acetate. Sodium acetate is a common name. Sodium ethanoate is IUPAC name. We are getting a salt. Right. Now our heading is a decarboxylation. Decarboxylation purpose, we have to use salt as a reactant. Of course, this salt is coming from carboxylic acid only. That's why instead of taking off carboxylic acid, I am using its salt. Now actual process will start. Whatever the CH3COONA we are getting, this compound, this salt, this sodium acetate salt, we are treating with a soda lime mixture. Soda lime mixture. What is a soda lime? Means 3:1 ratio of NaOH and CaO mixture is called as soda lime. I'll repeat. Whatever the salt we are getting, whatever the sodium salt of carboxylic acid we are getting, this salt now will react with the soda lime mixture. Soda lime. Once again, NaOH and CaO I'll write here. Let's see what happened. See here carefully. Na, COOO. Nothing but this part is eliminating. What is this? Na2CO3. Na2CO3, sodium carbonate is eliminated as a byproduct. CH3 and H, nothing but CH4 alkane is obtained. Once again, it is basically coming from carboxylic acid only. When carboxylic acid is reacting with base, you will get its corresponding salt. That salt I am using here. That salt is reacted with the soda lime mixture. Decarboxylation takes place. Sir, where decarboxylation takes place means COO. COO is eliminating. COO is nothing but carboxylic acid group it is. COO is a part of carboxyl group only. COO part eliminating as a CO2. This is called D. D is nothing but elimination. Carboxyl group is eliminating. This phenomena only called as decarboxylation. In this decarboxylation we are getting, of course, alkane. Right. Then here question arises. Sir, why we have to use a soda lime mixture? Because in the reaction only NaOH is participating. CaO is not at all involving in the process. Why is CaO even though it is not involved, why should we take only NaOH is enough or not? Why CaO also we are used means there is a reason behind this. See here carefully. NaOH actually, its problem is it is a hygroscopic nature. Hygroscopic. What is the meaning of hygroscopic? Means it absorbs moisture from its environment. I'll repeat, NaOH is hygroscopic, means it absorbs moisture. That's why CaO, when we are using, this CaO will keep NaOH dry. Whatever the moisture is there, that moisture will take back the CaO. I'll repeat once again, CaO will keep NaOH dry. That's why we are also using CaO. Otherwise, what is the problem then? NaOH is hygroscopic nature. It absorbs moisture. NaOH reacted with H2O, nothing but moisture, converted into another form. That's why we are using CaO, which will keep NaOH dry. That's all. This is first method, decarboxylation. First we have to take Here in our book directly example only given, general reaction has not given. That's why we are using directly example. First we have to take ethanoic acid, we should react with NaOH, we will get it's a salt, sodium ethanoate and water. Whatever the sodium ethanoate we are getting, we have to react with the soda, lime, NaOH and CaO. And Na to CO3 is eliminating and we will get methane plus sodium carbonate. Right. Then from Roman number 3, first method we have completed, that is from carboxylic acids, and second method again which is very important method, that is Roman number 3 only, from carboxylic acid only. In that second method I am explaining, which is very important process, that is called Kolbe's, scientist name, Kolbe's electrolysis process. Kolbe's electrolysis process. Yeah. First we have to know what is meant by electrolysis process. Okay. Electrolysis process purpose I am giving you one general example. General explanation I will tell you. After that we will go to what is actually Kolbe's process. Okay. See here, I will give you electrolysis meaning. One container I have taken, one electrolytic cell I have taken. In that electrolyte I have taken, say it is NaCl. Suppose, and two electrodes are dipped, both are connected to battery, and one is plus electrode, one is minus electrode, it is anode, it is cathode. And from the battery we are sending current, it is a battery, and from battery we are sending current. When you are sending current, what happened? NaCl will split into Na plus and Cl minus. All Cl minus ions are moving towards plus electrode, minus ions will move to plus electrode, plus ions will move to minus electrode. All Cl minus ions are coming here. It is anode. At anode, oxidation takes place, and after oxidation, Cl minus ions converted into Cl2. All plus ions are coming here. Plus ions will come to minus. This is cathode. At cathode, reduction takes place, and at cathode, Na plus converted to Na. That's it. This is only called as electrolysis process. This is only called as electrolysis process. Now, exactly, Kolbe's electrolysis process also involves same type of process. Okay, it is just electrolysis general example I have given. It is one container, NaCl electrolyte has taken, two electrodes are dipped, one is plus electrode, one is minus electrode, one is anode and one is cathode, both are connected to battery. We are sending a current into that solution. NaCl is undergoing ionization, Na plus and Cl minus, all minus ions, these are the minus ions, all minus ions are moving towards plus electrode. At this plus electrode, oxidation takes place. Okay, after oxidation, Cl minus converted into Cl2, and all Na plus ions are moving here. Reduction takes place. Na plus converted into sodium. That's it. Right. Now we'll see what is the Kolbe's electrolysis process. Here first we'll do one thing. First I'll give you example. By seeing the example, we will write general reaction. Okay. Example is like CH3COONA. Like once again I am giving a sodium salt of carboxylic acid. Our main heading is from carboxylic acid because this compound is truly obtained from carboxylic acid only. How it is obtained, already in the previous example I have explained. When CH3COOH reacted with NaOH, you will get this compound. Its name is sodium ethanoate. Sodium acetate is undergoing or sodium acetate plus water, nothing but aqueous sodium acetate I am taking. Aqueous sodium acetate is undergoing electrolysis process. Electrolysis means in the container what I am doing, in the container I have taken CH3COONA as well as water. Both have taken, and electrodes are dipped. One is plus electrode, one is minus electrode connected to battery. Current we are sending. What happens? That only we have to discuss. Okay, right. Then the balancing purpose, what I am doing, I am taking here 2. Here also I am taking 2. Then here what we are getting means CH3 plus CO2. These two are obtained at anode. These two are obtained at anode plus H2 and NaOH. These two are obtained at cathode. That's it. Sir, how they are obtained? That only we have to discuss. That only we have to discuss because in coal-based electrolysis process in our syllabus, its mechanism also given. Now we will discuss its mechanism. First you have to remember, at anode we are getting ethane, nothing but our alkane, because our lesson is, our topic is alkane. We have to prepare alkane. Where we are getting alkane? At anode we are getting alkane. Not only ethane, along with that carbon dioxide also we are getting. At cathode we are getting hydrogen and sodium hydroxide. And it's by seeing this we will write general equation. How to write general equation means, instead of methyl I will write R. R is nothing but alkyl. It is methyl. COONA, same COONA, 2 moles again, plus 2 H2O, undergoing the same electrolysis process. Same here, CH3. Here we will write RR. Again we are getting alkane, RR is alkane only. Remaining are same, CO2. These two are obtained at the anode, plus H2 and NaOH. These two are obtained at a cathode. It is a general reaction, it is example. General reaction and example. Okay. Suppose I think if you see this equation directly, you may not understand how those products are obtained. I will give you its mechanism. Now, after understanding the mechanism, automatically we will understand how, these products are obtained at respected electrodes. Now, we will see its mechanism. I will explain mechanism by using an example only, not by using general reaction. I will explain by using this equation, right. Okay, right. Then aqueous sodium acetate. Aqueous sodium acetate is undergoing electrolysis process. When aqueous sodium acetate undergoing electrolysis process, first of all, what happened? Whatever the sodium acetate is there, 2 moles of CH3COO. I'll write clearly, CH3COO. 2 moles of CH3COONA. CH3COONA, clear structure it is. Okay, now first undergoing ionization during the electrolysis process. First it is undergoing ionization. Ionization takes place here. What we are getting then? 2 moles of CH3COO minus plus Na plus, 2 moles of Na plus is like that ionizing. Now one important thing is, when oxygen is having a minus charge, surrounding a total how many electrons should present? Means 7 electrons should present. Because when oxygen is having 6 electrons, then neutral charge. Because here oxygen is having a minus charge, total 7 electrons should present. In that 7 electrons, 1 electron already participate in the bond formation. Still 6 electrons we have to show. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Be careful in this mechanism. Okay. Minus charge is there, that's why total surrounding 7 electrons we have to show compulsory. Right. Next. In the next step, what happened? Now I will write anode reaction. Anode is nothing but oxidation. What is the meaning of oxidation? Oxidation is nothing but loss of electrons. That's why this CH3CO minus 2 moles of CH3CO same surrounding 7 electrons minus is losing electron. Means whatever the excess 7th electron is there, that excess electron it is losing. That's why after losing it is converted as CH3COO. You just tell then, out of 7 electrons, 1 electron it is losing. Now surrounding how many electrons you have to write? Only 6 electrons you have to write. In that 6 already 1 is a participate in the bond formation. Remaining how many we have to write? Only 5 electrons we have to write like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No confusion. Total surrounding how many electrons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons. Okay, yeah, plus I will write 1 electron. 1 electron is coming from 1 mole, but here 2 moles. Basically I have taken 2 moles of acetate I have taken, that's why 2 electrons will come out. No confusion at all. Once again, when oxygen is having minus charge, Total 7 electrons should present. In that 7, 1 electron already participated. 6 electrons have written like this. And whatever the same copied here. At anode undergoing oxidation, nothing but loss of electron. Then whatever the extra electron, 7th electron is there, that 7th electron it is losing. After losing the 7th electron, it is having only 6 electrons. Being 6 electrons, no charge. Because if it is having 6 electrons, then exactly it is nothing but its valence electrons. That's why no charge here, 0 charge. Electrons are losing. To purpose I have written here 2 electrons. Okay, right. Next. Same I am copying. This molecule I am copying here. 2 moles of CH3, CO, then O, again electron 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, this molecule is undergoing further changes. How it is taking place? Let's see now. See here. Then this unpaired electron is coming here. Unpaired electron is coming here. And then here a carbon is bond is breaking. Homolytic cleavage is taking place. 1 electron is coming on methyl group. 1 electron is coming towards between carbon and oxygen. I'll repeat. Whatever the unpaired electron, single electron is there, that is coming here. And here carbon bond is breaking, and this electron also coming here, because in one bond contained 2 electrons. 1 electron is coming here. Next step, let's see next step what happens. Now here bond is breaking. When bond is breaking, this part separated. You will get 2 moles of CH3 with unpaired electron. Methyl free radical is generating. Methyl free radical is producing plus, right. Then already C double bond O. Then 1 electron is coming here, 1 electron is coming here. Means we will get here 2 electrons. 2 electrons nothing but 1 bond. C double bond O, nothing but carbon dioxide. CO2. We can write directly. 2 moles purpose. I will write a CO2. See, all these reactions are taking place at anode only. Next, whatever the methyl free radical is there, this methyl free radical is unstable. That's why this methyl free radical will combine with another methyl free radical. Both methyl free radicals will be combined, and this electron is coming here. This electron is coming here. This electron is coming here. Between electron a bond will form. That is nothing but ethane is obtained. That's it. Therefore, the anode, which products are obtaining? At anode, ethane and carbon dioxide are obtained. That already we have written in the equation. Just check yourself. First of all, sodium acetate is dissociating into acetate ion and sodium ion. And whatever the minus ion is there, minus ion will react at plus electrode, anode. Then acetate ion, losing electron, because it is oxidation process. Loss of electron is nothing but oxidation process. Okay. And here minus charge is there, that's why surrounding 7 electrons you have to write. Already we have written. And it is losing 1 electron. 1 mole ke liye 1 electron. Here I have taken a 2 moles purpose, 2 electrons. That's why after losing 1 electron, we will have total 6 electrons. In that 1 is participating in the bond formation, remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And next further change is taking place like this. This unpaired electron is coming here. Here homolytic cleavage takes place. This electron is coming here. And a methyl free radical is forming and carbon dioxide is producing. And whatever the methyl free radicals are forming, they are unstable. They are combining. You will get finally ethane. These are the anode reactions. Now we will write cathode reaction. Cathode is minus. Minus means plus ion should come. Again, there is a twist here. Regarding this, you learn clearly in the second PUC actually, but try to remember here. Then when sodium acetate is undergoing ionization, you will get acetate ion and Na plus ion. Then in the container, not only sodium acetate, we have taken water also. Aqueous sodium acetate we have taken. That's why water also undergoes ionization like this. When water undergoing ionization, you will get H plus and OH minus. 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 Correct? Right. Then at cathode, at anode is plus. At plus, this minus ion, instead of OH minus ion, discharging potential is less. Sir, what is the discharging potential? We will see in the second year electrochemistry lesson. And its discharging potential is less, its discharging potential is more. That's why it is coming and discharging. It is coming and reacting. Means out of these two, this is winning. It is not winning. Exactly. At cathode, out of these two, H plus discharging potential is more. H plus, Na plus will not discharge, H plus will discharge. Its discharging potential is more. That's why H plus will come and discharge. Means H plus will come here and undergoes reduction. H plus will come here and undergoes reduction. But the problem is, you can write, of course, yeah, you can write directly. I'll write, okay, H plus I'll write here. H plus undergoing reduction. Reduction is nothing but taking of electron. When H plus taking of electron, you will get H with unpaired electron. Now, H unpaired electron and another H unpaired electron. Because H unpaired electron nothing but free radical, most unstable. It is combining with another unpaired electron converted into H2, hydrogen gas. At cathode, hydrogen gas, already we have written here. At cathode, hydrogen gas liberating. Right. Next, one more important thing is, then here Na plus as well as their OH minus, Na plus OH minus, Na plus OH minus left, both will react to each other, Na plus and OH minus, and ultimately NaOH also obtained. NaOH also obtained. That's why at cathode H2 and NaOH both we have written here. Both we have written. What about anode? Anode products, at anode ethane and carbon dioxide, At cathode hydrogen and sodium hydroxides are evolved. This is the mechanism of coal-based electrolysis. Suppose if you not understood by seeing only one time, you can just revise the video, and as possible as times you can watch the video and try to understand the mechanism. Okay, right. Then from coal-based process, we cannot prepare a methane molecule because methane contained only one carbon atom. We cannot prepare methane from this coal-based process. And one more thing is, in the reactant, if n carbons are present in the reactant, final compound, final alkane is containing a 2 into n minus 1 number of carbon atoms. I'll repeat. If a reactant is having n number of carbon atoms and final alkane is having a 2 into n minus 1 number of carbon atoms, you can check yourself. This you just remember. Methane we cannot prepare in this method. Yeah, these are the preparation methods of alkanes. Just preparations only we have completed. We'll just recall once again what is the Roman number 1 from unsaturated hydrocarbons. Then unsaturated hydrocarbon means one is alkene and one is alkyne. What is the Roman number 2 from alkyl halides? In that alkyl halides, one is Wood's reaction and one is reduction. And Roman number 3 from carboxylic acids. In that again two methods. One is soda lime decarboxylation and number 2 is coal-based electrolysis process. Right. From this, we'll stop our today's class. All preparations we have completed. In our next video, we'll discuss about its physical and chemical properties as well as its conformational isomerism. In the next class, we'll try to complete a total alkanes part. Only alkanes. Because this lesson includes alkanes, alkenes, alkynes as well as benzene. In the next class, we'll try to complete only alkanes part. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.